This is the Horse Radio Network.
This is episode 494 of the Dressage Radio Show, official podcast of the United States Dressage Federation on the Horse Radio Network, brought to you by Kentucky Performance Products and Total Saddle Fit. Today, we are very happy to be joined by celebrity Pam Stone, who will recap her World Equestrian Games experience. And we have regular guest Karen Isberg on to discuss where to get the best information on supplements. And of course, we have a great trainer tip.
This is Reese Koffler-Stanfield from Loxahatchee, Florida.
And this is Philip Parks from Rockwood, Ontario, and you're listening to the Dressage Radio Show.
Hi, Phil.
Hi, Reese. How you doing?
I am great. How are you tonight?
I'm doing fine. We had a nice Christmassy day. We'll call it Christmassy Day here in Ontario.
That is so positive, Phil. Normally, everybody, as you know, this is the cranky Phil time of the year. And so I'm so proud of you. You're so positive.
Yeah, I'm putting a different spin on it. Every day is Christmas.
Every day is Christmas. Well, you know, there is some level of it's very nice to have a little snow around Christmas time. I'll give you that. And we're getting close to Christmas. And that is a little weird being in Florida and it's 80 degrees. That's
warm
strange.
And palm trees. And
yeah, it's a little weird.
I wouldn't like that.
I'm just fine with it. Thank you so much. Well, I am going home for Christmas, so I will get a little bit of that. But yeah, we're going here. I had my first training with Scott Hassler today, which was awesome. Great lessons. And the horses are all been super and really happy to be working. And I'm not going to lie, it's been great. And there's been some fun news that came out this week that Charlotte Bradal Baker has been appointed as the USEF developing coach. So that is great news for everybody.
She's
Charlotte,
awesome.
She's lovely. She's lovely and she gives great lessons. And I think we're all going to enjoy, as someone who's a part of that program, I'm really excited to work with her. That should be a lot of fun. And Phil, in some other great news, USEF came out with the Horse of the Year, which is, drumroll please, Verdatus or Diddy, owned by Laura Graves. What a great story. And it's really cool that he's Horse of the Year.
He had a wonderful year, didn't he? And they were named first place overall in the world rankings and all. And he had, she had some really awesome rides at WAG. So very deserving horse.
Yeah, very cool. So congratulations to Laura Graves. What a great Christmas present for her. That's very cool. I love it. Well, we have a great guest. This was such a fun interview. I think everyone's going to enjoy celebrity Pam Stone talking about her experience at the World Equestrian Games. Well, we are so excited tonight to have actress, comedian, dressage enthusiast, and rider Pam Stone back on the program. It's been several years. Pam, welcome back.
Well, and light roofing repair. I do whatever it takes to pay the mortgage on the farm.
I was going to say, isn't that anybody that owns a farm could say that? Like
dog sitting,
toilet repair, fence repair. Like I'm good at things I never thought I would be good at.
Oh, isn't that true? And I have to tell you, I just did a stand-up concert in Tryon at the Tryon Fine Arts Center. And after the show, we were doing a meet and greet, and there were some people that said, "Well, we drove from Charlotte to see the show. We'd love for you to come out and have a drink afterwards." And I said, "Y'all, I have to be up at like 5:30 or 6, to do the stalls and everything." And she said, "So do you do that? I would have thought you had people that did that." And I was like, wait a minute. I'm sorry, what was that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have people. And what crap job would that be for the person who had that job? It's like,
well, Pam, tell us about,
could you bring the tractor around?
Yep, yeah, tell us about your farm. What this is a new farm, I think, since we talked to you, maybe?
No, I've always had this farm. Well, I mean, I've had this farm since 1993, but I didn't move here from California till 2000. So we call it the Funny Farm because when I had my radio show, I was doing it from here. And I don't know, did you know that? Did I tell you that the last time I was on?
I think it's been a number of years since you've been.
It's been like because the last time we talked, I had just done when I had done the sitcom Coach back in the '90s, and then they were doing the reboot for they were bringing it back, and I shot the pilot.
That's right.
And
yes.
then NBC sat on it, and I was so mad because I had been like looking at Euro dressage for horses for sale every day, and then it was like whack whack whack, and I was like. And I said to the producer, I'm like, well, do I still get paid? He's like, yeah, you still get paid. I'm like, well, then pull it. I don't care. What the hell? Let's do it. Let's pull that one.
Doesn't matter to you, yeah.
So, but for a long time, it was like I had moved here in 2000, and I had toured as a stand-up comic for 25 years, and I'd done everything, and I'd done like the White House, I'd done Disney World, I had done the Tonight Show, and everything. And I was like a week away from calling my manager saying, I've done horses my whole life. This is all I've ever wanted to do. I appreciate Hollywood. It got me what I wanted, which was my own farm and some nice horses. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm ready. I'm just going to do horses from here on out. I was a week away from making that call. And then she calls me within that week. And she said, I just got this really weird offer for you if you're interested. And I said, well, what is it? And she said, well, there's this radio station in Charlotte, and they used to be like, Hot AC, Top 40, but they're changing their format, and they want to do entertainment talk, and they want to know if you want to host it. And I said, I'm not driving to freaking Charlotte every day. It's like a 90-minute round trip. Blah, 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 blah. And she said, no. They said, I was so freaking ungrateful. And she said, no, with the DSN line, they can put it into your farm, and you can do the show from your farm. And only horse people get this. And I said, well, like what time? Because, I have to be able to ride in the morning in the summer.
You have to feed, you have to have everything done.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. And she said it'd be 10 to 12. And I said, really, like 2 hours? She said, yeah, 10 to 12, 5 days a week. And I'm thinking, this is great because, you get up really early in the summer and you ride before it gets too hot, ready.
Yeah.
And I said, and I'm not doing any stupid like car commercials like this Pam Stone from Dick Paley Ford, for I don't have to do that on weekends because there may be like a horse show. And she says, no, that's fine. They won't do that. And they're going to syndicate. They're going to syndicate the show. And if I knew what I know now about radio, I just thought, I'd give anybody a syndicated radio show. I had no idea that like there's people that have been in radio for their entire life that would give anything to have a syndicated radio show. I mean, it is like the top tier. And I'm like, well, I just can't interfere with my writing.
Yeah, you were just like, well, if it's my schedule, and if you pay me enough,
and if my schedule, and I get
we're waiting for this call.
Yeah, so here's where we did the show from. So we had this old. My husband had built this like. It was going to be his office. He'd put it right behind the barn, but he never really finished it. It had a subfloor in it, and it had no plumbing, and it had like a window unit for air conditioning in it. And we made that the studio, and we called it, Live from the Unabomber Shack, because that's exactly what it looked like, was the Unabomber Shack. And it was great. I did that show for oh my gosh, I did the syndicated part for 5 years, and then 5 years I did on weekends because they wanted me to do 4 and 5 hours a day. And I was like, I can't do that. I'm never going to be able to do that.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
That sounded like freaking work, but it was great while it lasted, like the 2 hours, because I could go out during commercials and pick a stall and throw hay, and stuff like that. So that was my foray into radio. So yeah, I've just been living here on the farm since then, and I do a little bit of stand up, but mostly just what you guys do, And the reason I was at WEG, because you guys were at WEG,
yes,
and right before we went on the air, you guys were angry at me because I didn't say hey to you in the media tent, but I didn't see you.
Glenn was really
insulted.
I wanted to meet you. I didn't even know you were going to be there, and here you are there, and we are all set up. We have our microphones that say Horse Radio Network on it.
Miss us.
We're there.
In the middle of the room.
But it was so ridiculous.
Pam.
You sound like teenage girls at the mall. And we were all set up.
Yeah, you totally dissed us.
Yeah, you dissed us.
It was so here's the deal. So I started, all right, so this is how my career works. So after I did the radio thing, and I'm telling you this for a reason. So I write for Dressage Today. I blog for them. And then I one of the local newspapers here said, would you write a column for us? And I was like, well, I guess like what, a humor column? And they said, yeah. And the publisher was a friend of mine, and he said, I'm not going to embarrass you by offering to pay you for it. I said, oh no, you will pay me.
I'm not going to embarrass you.
Auntie Pam this horse's bill.
Don't eat.
I work for this. So that little column is now a syndicated humor column.
Oh,
So now I'm under all this freaking pressure to write like a national, like to write a column. So one of the papers that carries it is in Spartanburg, South Carolina, the Herald Journal. So coming up to WEG, the editor writes me. He says, Pam, and you're gonna love this part. He says, since Tryon is so close to us, we have to cover WEG the whole time. And would you consider being our report? I'm a college dropout. I don't know, I don't know anything about anything. And he's like, would you cover this not as your column, but as a journalist? Would you cover WEG for us? And then he said, but if you're competing there, we don't want to bother you. And I'm like, oh yes, I would be competing.
Yes.
On my OTTB that I'm trying to rehab back from a stifle injury. Yes, I shall be there. So they send me there, and I say, because I'm hearing the rumors about WEG. It's because the rumors that went crazy around WEG, right?
Oh yeah, we
Oh,
covered them.
yes.
Yeah, so you're covering them. So I live really close to Tryon. I mean, I can spit to the North Carolina border, and I'm hearing about the parking, and I'm hearing the thing about when you live in a little town like this, like 2,000 people, they're kind of like the Inquirer. There'll be a grain of truth about something, and then it just gets cartooned out of proportion like crazy.
Yeah.
And so all I was hearing coming up to WEG, because I was going to WEG, I was definitely going to go. But I was hearing these are just 2-lane roads, and they're expecting 500,000 people. And even on 74, which is the highway coming in, that's nothing but a 2-lane road, and they're just not ready for this. And the exit ramp's not going to be done. And did you see they don't have the hotels built, and they're going to be parking in the field, and they're going to have to haul people over to WEG on a tractor. And did you see the groom's tent? They're putting the grooms in the tent. No, that's not what I heard. They're not putting the grooms in the tent. They're living in holes in the ground. I'm telling you, Alan Davis is living in a hole in the ground. And if it rains, they have to put a manhole cover over him. And so this is. So I say to the editor, and they're going to buy all our food at the grocery store, all the bread and milk. What are we going to do?
It's going to be gone.
So I say to the editor, oh yeah. And I said to the editor, I said, I will cover it. I said, you're getting me in free, right? And he's like, oh, of course. I'm like, winning. And then I say, number 2, I said, I ain't parking in that damn field, okay? Because it's they're going to have to send a shuttle if they've got 30,000 people standing in that field. They're gonna have to have a shuttle like every 2 minutes if you do the math. And I said, I ain't doing the field shuttle thing. And he said, no, you'll be media, you'll get to park on site. I'm like, winning. So my whole thing about going, my whole reason for going was, I'm a disciple of Carl Hester. I just everything about him, I just crazy about. And so Mary Phelps is my new BFF, who was hauling me all over the media tent, which is why I didn't say hi to you, because there was a lot of people there and I didn't even see you. And I've noticed that you didn't try to flag me down, I must say.
Well, Mary, I talked to her 100 times there.
Right. But I was going back and forth, and you didn't flag me down. And don't tell me that you didn't notice me, because I'm 8 freaking feet tall.
Yeah, you're like
and
7 feet
riding,
6.
I also double, huh?
You're like 8 feet
when
tall.
I'm not riding, I also double as an inflatable thing that you see in the front of car lots. Those inflatable, people that flow up. That's what I do for, if I need to buy another horse, I'm renting myself out as one of those. I got to make a living. And so I'm 8 feet tall. If you see a woman taller than me, it's a man. So don't even say to me for a second that you didn't see me. I was tall. There is a photo of me standing with Isabel Vert after she won the gold medal at the press conference. And I come over, I'm like, can I get a picture with you? And she's like, and she's looking at me like I'm the Statue of Liberty. She's absolutely terrified. She's just standing there like,
she's not going to say no.
Yeah, no, she was too sweet to say no. So I do apologize for not seeing you guys there, because I would have absolutely hung with you the whole time.
Oh, we would have loved it. So tell us this Carl Hester situation. This is, I hear this, but we gotta go.
He's my reason for life. He's my reason for life. And so Mary's like, well, after the dressage, they're going to do a press conference. And so I'm watching, and then, and I see like, oh, awesome. Great Britain gets bronze. Awesome. So he'll be in the press conference because he's a member, on that team. And so it's in the middle of the afternoon, and Mary's like, I know him. I could introduce you. And I'm like, exciting. So I look at the board. You know how they have the big board when you come in, which says what time the press conference is going to be?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes.
You know, and they said 7 p.m. And so at this point, it was like 5:30. And I thought, okay, awesome. Okay, I'm going to fly home, feed my horses, pick stalls, and get back here just in time for the press conference. And I'm thinking the whole time, like, because I'm a reporter, I mean, I'm a real journalist now, and I can like lob a question, you know, and it's going to be like the best question. And so I go home and I come back and it's like crickets. It's crickets in the media. And
It
I'm
already
like,
happened.
the woman
yeah.
yeah. So the woman that guards the door, I'm like, where's the, she says, oh, they already had it. They moved it up to 6. I'm like, no, are you kidding me? I missed it. I'm like Linus in The Great Pumpkin. I missed it. I really, so I was just devastated. I was so bummed. And I thought, you know, and Mary said, well, you know, he wasn't really here that long anyway. You could tell he kind of wanted to get out of here. And I was like, oh man. Well, so the next day was the special. And so, oh, that was my cat. Go away. And so, of course, I blamed it on the cat. But so, I'm sorry. Had a little tie for dinner. So, so the next day, I'm watching the dressage, you know, the special, and you guys were watching the special, right? And it was fabulous. Oh, yeah. And then there was like the big break in the middle, and then you look at your schedule, and then there's, you know, coming up, it's all the big guns, just all the big guns. And so it's like, what was it, like an hour and a half break or 2-hour break or something? And so I think, oh, I'll go walk around and look at like some of the vendors, some of the shopping there. And I have a friend of mine that works for Horseware, and I'll go say hi over there. And I'm just kind of mooching around. It was really hot. You remember that?
It
and
was
I
hot.
walked past the Chronicle of the Horse tent. And there's this like little sandwich board outside, no fanfare, no nothing, no announcements, just this little sandwich board about 2 feet high. This is today. From 1 to 2, Carl Hester book signing. I'm like, oh my God. Oh,
Here's your
it's
chance.
right here. And I pull up my phone and it's 1:59. And I'm like, oh, and I go in there and he's signing this woman. And I'm like, is it too late? And the woman like steps in front of me, you know, and she's like, yes, he has to ride. And he said, I'm terribly sorry. I have to, you know, they get very angry if I take my tie off. And so I watched him, and I'm just standing there like, wah, wah, wah. And he gets up and he walks. I'm like, I'm so close. I'm like 2 feet from him. I can't believe it. And everybody I know saw that and went and had a picture taken with him. So now I'm like really, really bummed. You know, I'm like the girl that doesn't get invited to the prom, and I'm just like, you know,
kicking rocks.
You're like,
Yeah.
oh.
I am. I'm kicking rocks with my hands stuffed in my pocket. I'm like, stupid wag. I hate it. So,
I hate wag.
I run into Mary, and Mary says, look, I'm photographing down by the end gate. Why don't you just like come down to the end gate? Because it's really cool because you see everybody ride right in and right out after that. And I'm like, okay, fine. All right. And so watch Carl's ride, which is great. Charlotte's ride and Isabel ride and everybody. It was great. And then they had the international journalists set up right by the end gate. You remember that?
Yeah.
So people would finish their ride and they would run over on foot and be interviewed. And I didn't know that.
Talk.
So
yeah,
they had to.
Be forced to talk and like about their ride. And so I'm like facing the other way, and Mary's like, hey, Pam. And I'm like, what? And she's like, Mister, like, she's right behind you. He's like right behind you. And I look over my shoulder like a total fangirl, like, oh my God. And Mary takes her camera and takes a photo of me like with both of my hands up against my face, like, ah, and then him right behind me. So I got my like sort of selfie.
Awesome.
I got my sort of selfie.
Yes. Did you ever talk to him?
So no, I didn't. But here's the really cool thing. So all of this, so I'm driving home, and especially like after I missed the press conference when I was really, really dejected, and I was driving back home that night, and I was so bummed, and this car cuts me off on 74, like cuts right in front of me, which is ridiculous because that 74 is empty anyway, that interstate.
Yeah,
and the car that cuts me off, it never has anybody on it. Even during WUG, there was nobody on it. But the car that there was nobody. The car that cut me off had one of those. You've seen those car decals that if you're a marathon runner, it says like 26.2, or you run a 10K or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So you've seen those. So that car like cut me off, and it's a runner, and he's got that car magnet. And I look at that and I think, you know what? Why don't they make those for dressage riders? why don't they make those for eventers? You know,
This is your
jumpers.
inspiration.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
It was my inspiration. I know. I mean, do you
Your
love
light
that?
bulb
Because
moment.
my light bulb went on when that car cut in front of me, and I'm thinking, because you can slap that 26.2 on your car, and it doesn't mean that you had a personal best. It means you just completed it. You could have walked the last 10 miles. For that,
Which I would have been
and
doing.
I thought, heck yeah. And I'm thinking, for a lot of people, like moving up a level is their personal triumph. And so I came up with this idea, and I have this company now because I need to buy another horse. It's always about buying another horse. And it's called Level Up Equestrian Magnets, and they look exactly like those magnets. They're really durable, and they're waterproof, and they're oval with the double black border. And if you're a dressage rider, and I'll send them to you guys. For your, it's every recognized level. So it goes from, I don't have intro, but I have training through Grand Prix. And if you don't want to put like, I1, I2, or Prix St. George, you could have just like FEI. But we have like first, second, third, fourth. Because it's like a huge deal for a lot of people. I think like making the jump to FEI or even look at how hard it is for people to make the jump from like training to second level. That's
so hard.
That's every bit as hard as doing a marathon. It's really hard. And the same thing for eventing. So I've got it from beginner, novice to 4-star. That. So, there you can go to levelupequestrianmagnets.com. They're cheapest chips. I mean, they're $6.
Love it. I'm
$5.99.
looking right now. I'm currently
Are you looking at them?
So cool.
My WordPress is how cool is it? Don't they look good in barrel racing? And
cool.
Who knew there was levels from 1D to 6D in barrel racing?
I did not know that.
That I was not aware of. But
this is why Auntie Pam is on the show, to teach you that. It's all about money you win. If you win a lot of money, you're 1D. So you guys need, tell me which magnets you want me to send to you, and I'll send them to you. You can slap on the back of your truck or your car.
And then everybody will know when I cut people off that they were cut off by somebody who rides FEI.
Heck yeah.
I love it.
Now, a woman that I ride with, I'll ride over at Hoke and Thorns on, it's like, you need any help over there for, just helping out there. She's good friends with Kathleen Rain, and I know she sent her Grand Prix ones. She said, I'm sending them over there for Christmas. And it's really, don't you think it's like a great barn gift for Christmas for like students?
Fantastic.
As a trainer, when you have like a lot of students and you can't spend a lot of money, but it means something. It means something. It's like, good for you. You made 4th level this year. Woo! Here's your magnet,
Badge of honor right on your car.
I love it.
Well,
I have 2 horses getting ready for the Grand Prix, and we need to put them on the fridge, and then when they do their Grand Prix, it'll go on the car. I love it.
There you go. And you know what? Somebody said to me, well, I haven't shown, but I'm this. And I said, well, the Spanish Riding School doesn't show either. There's a lot of people that look how, especially for you, Philip, when Neil Ishoy was alive, look how, when people say, well, he's never shown Grand Prix. And then the first time he goes in, he kicks ass with like a 70%. But you're going to tell me that Neil Ishoy, it's like,
doesn't deserve the Grand Prix sticker.
Yes, I think he gets one. Oh, it's so cool. And the website's great, and it's easy to find. And then you can look. You can get the FEI 1st level through 4th level. Oh, I love it. It's so
Thank you. And it's
very
cool.
And
it's, why don't we have bragging rights too? Why don't we have bragging rights?
Because it's super hard. Oh,
it is.
I love it.
So freaking hard. So yeah. So that's what I've done. I've been doing since I talked to you. I also
we're making it a thing in Wellington this year. I can't wait.
What's that?
We're making it a thing in Wellington. Yes, it's becoming a thing. We're doing it.
And we need to do that. And I think even for like, I look at that for like award banquets too.
Oh, fantastic.
To give away for like, because not everybody, if they're at whatever region 1, 2, 3, if not everybody finishes in top 5 or top 10 or something, but everybody should at least get like a magnet or something to say, yeah, but I did this.
That's fantastic. What a great idea. Well, Pam,
Thank
we can't
you.
thank you enough for coming on the show. Actually, this is a perfect, a New Year's
Tipping
resolution.
would be appropriate.
Yes,
Tipping
exactly.
would be nice.
Yeah, Glenn, where are you?
15%
We
of
need
your
that
monthly
too.
income.
You remember what they said about that other one where they don't want to insult you by paying you? Well, we're kind of the same way over here. So
I know, don't you? Yeah,
I don't want to
Oh,
insult
no.
you, Pam.
Well, I was just thinking too, Pam, just as a trainer, I always think at the beginning of the year, I sit down or have a quick discussion with all my students about what their goal is for the year. And this would be such a
Awesome.
good thing to say, like, what is your goal? And if it's your goal is to make third level by the end of the year, you can put this, grab a magnet and stick it on your fridge and look at it every morning when as you're driving out to the
I
barn.
think
And then, New Year's
Yeah,
resolution.
and even maybe and sometimes tack trunks have a magnetic surface on part, stick it there or just in the tack room for inspiration, like, dadgummit, by the end of this year, I'm going to have that on the back of my truck.
That's right.
Or on the back of my
I
car.
love it. Well, Pam,
Yes, it
give
is.
the website one more time. How do people find the magnets?
Sure. It is levelupequestrianmagnets.com. And keep reading my blog on dressage today. It's called Remember to Smile, and all that good stuff. So I really appreciate it. It's always so much fun. And I swear the next WAG, I will find you and hunt you down.
Yeah,
The
well,
next WAG, I know.
well,
That's sad, isn't it?
none of us are holding our
Championship.
breath for that one.
Yeah. But we would love that. Well, Pam, thank you so much for coming on the show. As always, it's a blast. And let's keep in touch, and we'll get some magnets for us this year. I'm excited.
Sounds awesome. Thank you. And yeah, I'll email you and I'll send you guys some so you can drive with pride.
We will for sure.
All around Willie World. Okay. We'll see you guys later. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Pam.
Okay. Bye.
Well, tonight, as always, our monthly contributor, Karen Isberg, is here. She is president of Kentucky Performance Products and currently a very hardworking dressage rider. Karen, welcome to the show.
Oh, thanks for having me, Reese. It's always good to be here.
Well, we're not going to lie. We're actually in our little cottage at our farm in Florida. And Karen has been here all week. So how has your first week in Wellington been?
Well, now I don't want to go home because this is really fun. So I get up and I ride with Reese in the morning, and she puts me to work and makes me work really hard, and then I can come back into the cottage, and I have a little like alcove where there's a window that faces the dressage ring, and then I just do my work and watch Reese ride horses for the rest of the day. So yeah, it's hard, but somebody has to do it.
Yeah. And then I was giving Jessica, our wonderful working student, a lesson, and Karen came out and sat on the patio. So it's been quite a great week. And we had lessons this morning. I rode Master Leo in a lesson with Scott Hassler. So it's been a fun week. So we're really happy to have you.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't really want to go home, but
So Karen, we're going to get right to our monthly discussion, and we have a great topic because I think there's a lot of misconceptions about feeding and where you find the proper information on the internet, because a lot of times somebody will say, oh, my horse is doing great on this supplement, or, we need to try some more amino acids and that kind of thing. So can you talk to us a little bit about where are some good resources to find the proper information about feeding and nutrition?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Because the internet, while Dr. Google is absolutely wonderful, and I use Google all the time. I love it. I'm looking up things every day. I look things up on the internet. But I think when it comes to feeds and supplements, you need to be a little bit careful about where you get your information. I tend to stay away from the chat rooms because you get a lot of people on there that are kind of self-professed experts. There are some people in the chat rooms that know what they're talking about, but there's also people in the chat rooms that have they've just either are a little bit confused or have their information wrong. So I tend to stay away from those a lot. I'm sure a lot of your radio users use SmartPak and Dover and places like that. SmartPak has some really fantastic educational information on their website. They talk about ingredients. They talk about just the different types of supplements and how to use them. Of course, our website, Kentucky Performance Products, we have just tons and tons of information and articles. You can go on to our website, kppusa.com. There's a search box. You put in a word that you're looking for information on, and just articles will come up. Also, most of your good commercial feed companies will have a nutritionist on staff. So if you have a question, say your friend says, oh, this feed, I love it for my horse. That doesn't necessarily mean that feed's going to be great for your horse, because the horses could have different needs. So you could call up that particular company's nutritionist. Don't just go to the feed store, but go to the company itself. You can contact the nutritionist through email, and they're usually pretty good about getting back to you. You can call the company and ask them to have the nutritionist contact you. And those nutritionists are scientists. Most of them are PhD or master's educated scientists, and they will give you the answers that you need. Is this feed good for my horse or not? If this one won't work, which one will? And so those are just some really good resources to go to where you're going to get good information.
Yeah, I think it's important to really try and figure out if you're changing your horse's feed is why, right? You have to ask yourself why first. What are you hoping to achieve?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you really don't want to change your horse's feed if he's doing well on it, unless he's having a problem. And that's kind of where supplements come in. So if your horse is having if you like your feeding program, but your horse is having a very specific problem, like he's losing a little weight because you're working him more, and you're kind of at that recommended level, then maybe it's time to give your horse a fat supplement. Or if it's been a really muddy year and his feet are starting to fall apart, well, this might be the year that you need a hoof supplement. So really sit down and think to yourself, what is my horse's problem? And then pick a supplement that will target that. And if your horse is changing jobs, like if you have a horse that's been a competition horse and you're retiring him, then it might be time to get in touch with one of those nutritionists from one of the top feed companies, the good commercial feed companies, and ask them what would be the best nutritional path for this horse now that he's changing jobs.
Well, Karen, I think that's such a great thought, because I'm so lucky you're in the barn, and we have conversations all the time about, this horse is changing, or, we've come to Florida, so things have changed a lot, and not tremendously, but, we've had some changes, and obviously things are a little bit different. How often should someone talk to, or should you maybe get some advice from a professional? What would you say?
Well, I think a good time to do that is obviously anytime your horse is facing a challenge. So if you're seeing that there's an issue that they have, like just the same way you would if you notice a health issue with your horse, you'd go to your veterinarian. So if you notice an issue with your horse, he's not gaining as much weight, he's losing weight, he's gaining too much weight, not carrying as much muscle over the top line, that would be a good time to go to a professional and ask them, what can I do to help fix this? Anytime, like I said previously, a horse changes his job. If he was a trail horse and you've all of a sudden decided now you have the time, you want to turn him into a hunter jumper, or, you want to go into reining or something like that, or, just like I did, you have a horse that was an event horse and now you want to make him a dressage horse. What kind of things do you need to change in that horse's diet so that he is getting the proper nutrients and the amount of energy that he needs to do his new job? Again, age, as horses age, they continuously change as they age. So, once a year even, it wouldn't be a bad idea to touch base, have a relationship with a nutritionist from the feed company that you use and say, hey, this is what's going on this year. This is my feeding program. Should I tweak anything or change anything? And most of them would be more than happy to talk to you. Same thing with the supplement companies. You can call KPP anytime, and we'll help you review your diet and your supplements and tell us what you're doing with your horse, and we'll be happy to tweak things for you.
Karen, I had a question just about, sort of internet advertising or kind of advertising in general. And, you see this where there's a new supplement company and they've got this supplement that's end all be all, cures everything. How do I evaluate whether that's good information coming out, whether, it's an article that's advertised on the internet? Like, how do I figure out whether, it's good information or not?
Yeah, well, the key thing to remember about supplements are the word supplement is exactly what it means. It supplements the diet. So it helps to fix an issue that you're having in the diet. If there's something missing in the diet, or if your horse needs a little more of something else to fix a problem. So if if you're looking at, say, a new supplement company and they've got this bucket of supplement and it cures everything, they're telling you it does hoof, it does coat, it does joints, it does digestive, it does that. Typically, that's a little bit too good to be true. It's really hard to get ethical amounts of effective amounts of ingredients all in one scoop and make it cost effective. So if it's an inexpensive supplement and they're telling you it does everything, those ingredients are probably in there, but whether they're in there at amounts that are really going to make a big difference to your horse or not is questionable. So at that point, then I think I would get the label and I would start looking at the amounts are in there, and then I would get on the internet and start looking at, what are the recommended amounts of these particular nutrients in a horse that will make a difference when they're eating it. It's like vitamin E. You'll find it in a lot of products, but it may be synthetic vitamin E versus natural vitamin E. Horses don't absorb synthetic very well. And it may be that particular supplement is giving your horse 100 IUs a day of natural vitamin E, which isn't going to hurt your horse and is beneficial to your horse. But if your horse truly needs, is needing enough grass and truly needs an effective dose of vitamin E, then it needs to be 1,000 IU. So, there just may not be giving enough for it to make a huge difference. So if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's kind of how I fly.
Yeah, that makes total sense. Well, Karen, as always, thank you so much for your time tonight. And we're going to go get dinner here in a little while, everybody. But thank you so much for your time. And how do our listeners find you online?
You can go to kppusa.com. You can go to our Facebook page, Kentucky Performance Products. You can leave us messages in all of those places. And you can also give us a call at 859-873-2974. Our office hours are 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. Give us a call, and we'll be happy to answer your questions, help you out with anything that you have questions on or you're confused about, and just let us know.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Karen.
All right. Thank you, Reese. Bye, Phil.
This week's dressage training tip is brought to you by Total Saddle Fit, home of the shoulder relief girth at TotalSaddleFit.com.
Well, Phil, you and I, as everyone knows, are super fans of Total Saddle Fit girths, and it is a great holiday item to get for your family member. I'm just saying.
Yeah, if you're one of those people like me who is a last minute gift getter, I guess I give the gifts on time. I tend not to get them until
now's time, Phil.
Now is the time. This is the reminder, because if you're ordering it online, if you're not lucky enough like me to have a store nearby that carries them, then you've got to order it online and you've got to get it before Christmas. So you might have to expedite that delivery. Because this is the last minute time. So I would
it's time.
Just reminding people like me who are way behind on all of their gift buying things, and
it's
getting really stressed out.
Total Saddle Fit shoulder relief girths are fantastic. They're all kinds of price points. You guys know that. Even if you have one of the liners for the Stretch Tech girths, this is a great time to get a new liner. If you wanted to they have the nice wool liner. They have a leather liner.
Yeah, the neoprene, the leather.
It's a good time to re-up that for Christmas. It's even a good stocking stuffer. So as always, TotalSaddleFit.com. Justin will take great care of you. And we have a great Total Saddle Fit tip of the week, don't we, Phil?
Tell us what it is, Reese. Tell us what it is. Reese came up with this one. Yeah.
Jessica Spracklin, who is my wonderful assistant trainer for the winter, I just ran out to the room and I said, "Give me a tip." And she said, "I have a good tip for you." And basically her tip, or something she wanted us to discuss, was basically what happens with your horses on the ground will translate to riding. And I thought that was a really good thought, because we were just having this discussion. We have 3 horses. It drives me crazy that when they come in from the paddock, they're like being drugged. I hate that.
Well, they don't want to come in from the paddock. They were having so much fun with their friends and chewing on the grass and
I hear ya. The same point, right? Her point, and we were talking about it. I'm like, make that horse walk up with you. Like, don't let it drag. But that horse is equally as behind the leg when you ride him as when you bring him in from the paddock. Or we have a couple youngsters here that are just a little bit pushy, and they're pushy in the cross sides, and they're pushy, and we're really working on ground manners. And that also really translates to being under saddle. So I think that's just a good reminder. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I know that there are, a great many, in-hand trainers, or on-the-ground trainers. And sometimes as sport riders, we sort of will neglect some of these issues because we're behind in our day, or, whatever it is. Like you might just have a tendency to ignore some of these behaviors and just want to get on and ride. And I think can be dangerous because when you're dealing with a horse on the ground, you're setting the tone of, have the horse respect your space, have the horse respect what you're trying to communicate to them on the ground. Otherwise, you're just starting a ride in a little bit of a bad way. So, I am very much pay attention to these sort of things with my horses, and when I'm dealing with them on the ground, whether it's, they wait for me when I turn them out. There's all these little things, and it just ends up being all these little things build up and just carry on from groundwork to riding. So I think, we were all, really excited to get on and work on our 2-time tempies or, whatever. But, pay attention to how the horse respects you on the ground as well. And that you're, working on the little things because they count in the end. That's right.
That's right. I totally agree. And so I thought that was a great tip from Jessica Stracklin on just pay attention to it, especially over break, or if it's getting cold and you're not, doing some groundwork. I think it's really important with all the horses. Well, Phil, as always, we love email and Facebook shout outs. Don't worry, over Christmas, we will bank them for our shows next year. We love them, so keep them coming. And you can find our show notes and links to today's guests on our website, dressageradio.com. Like us on Facebook, just search Dressage Radio Show. Follow us on Twitter at Horse Radio. My website is maplecrestfarmky.com, and my email is reese@horseradionetwork.com.
I think the best way to find me is through Facebook, or my email is philip@horseradionetwork.com. I'd like to thank our sponsors this week for allowing us to put on a show. And don't forget to check out all the other shows on the Horse Radio Network at horseradionetwork.com.
Everybody, keep your heels down and your shoulders back, and we'll talk to you next week.